This is my colony of long-legged desert ants, and today they're finally going to be getting a long-needed upgrade. We're going to be moving them into a new home because, as you can see, their old nest is filled with ants. This colony is one of my favorites, and I want to keep growing them in numbers, but they can't do that without more space. Even though these ants don't possess a sting, they're one of my most aggressive ants, so I'm going to be moving them into this nest. This is actually the nest that my honeypot ants used to live in, but they got an upgrade too, so now this one is freed up and ready to be used. I started off by connecting two tubes of different sizes, connected this thinner tube into the new nest, and the thicker end had to go into their current nest. You can see just how many ants are swarming everywhere, so I had to do this really fast to make sure that no ants would escape. Thankfully, the only thing that came out was a single larvae, but the tubes were now connected and the moving process could start to happen. As you can see, the ants started rushing out of the nest into the tube immediately. There was one single brave worker that wandered off the furthest without any of its allies, but it wasn't long until the rest followed suit and there was a whole trail of them ready to move into the new nest. It only took a couple of seconds for the first worker to walk the length of the tube and start exploring the new nest. Now, when ants want to move, they don't do so immediately. An ant's home is obviously extremely important to their survival in nature. So this means that they have to do a really good job picking a location that has the perfect humidity, temperature, and isn't too close to other competing ant colonies, otherwise they run the risk of not having enough resources to survive. By now there were a decent amount of ants exploring the new nest, but I could tell that the full move had not begun just yet. I could tell this was the case because there were no eggs, larvae, or pupae being transported into the new nest. When an ant colony is ready to move and they feel that they have found a good new location for the nest, the first thing they'll start to do is transport the baby ants, and right here is where you see it happening. The first worker ants started transporting the larvae and eggs from the old nest into the new nest. This is a sure sign that they think the new nest is safe to live in and that they've decided to make this their new home. You can see that there were so many ants trying to get into the new nest that there was a traffic jam in the tube and they could barely squeeze past each other. For some reason, there were a lot of ants nesting in the outworld of their old nest. You can see they were holding a bunch of larvae and eggs, but by now, there were over 24 workers in the new nest, meaning the move was now in full force. Slowly but surely, they started taking the eggs and larvae, which you see here from the top, down into the old nest, and then through the tube. I'm pretty sure they were staying on the surface of the old nest because I was shining my light on them, and they like the heat from the light to heat up the pupae so they can develop as fast as possible. By now, there were ants on all levels of the nest, including not just the bottom part, but the outworld as well. You can see that probably half the colony was moved into the new nest by this point, and it was just mesmerizing watching them walk in and out, and realizing that all of these hundreds of ants were communicating with each other, telling their fellow workers that it was time to move, abandon their old home, and relocate into the new one. Now, what I wanted to see the most was the queen walking into the new nest, but by this point it was 3 AM and I had to go to sleep. When I woke up the following morning, all of the baby ants were transported into the new nest, but I couldn't see the queen just yet. However, I turned the nest around and there she was. She had moved into the new nest too, so the full move was now complete. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and if you did, be sure to subscribe because next episode we're going to be feeding them a ton of bugs so they can hopefully fill up this new nest really fast.